In the quiet corners of the city, where the nights stretch long and the old streets are often forgotten, a silent guardian keeps watch. A small, skinny white cat, with ribs just visible and eyes that miss nothing, prowls the forgotten alleyways. He is a ghost in the shadows, a whisper in the wind, his world painted in the dim, yellow glow of tired streetlights. He has no name, no home, just the cracked walls and rusty shutters of this old neighborhood. He might not have the strength of a lion, but his spirit is just as fierce. He knows the rhythm of this place, the hum of its sleeping heart, and he knows when that rhythm is broken. One night, under the cloak of darkness, two figures huddled near a small, family-owned shop. Their whispers were sharp, cutting through the silence as they fumbled with the lock. They thought they were alone, unseen, but from behind a weathered wooden crate, a pair of sharp eyes watched their every move. The cat knew he couldn't fight them. He was just a stray, small and underfed. But he also knew that silence was their ally, and he was about to shatter it. He saw his Chanson empty metal can lying discarded nearby. With a deliberate nudge of his head, he sent it tumbling. Clang. The sound was explosive, a gunshot in the dead of night, echoing off the brick walls and down the narrow street. One of the men froze. "Did you hear that?" he hissed, his eyes darting nervously into the shadows. The other scanned the alley, his confidence wavering. The cat had planted a seed of doubt. But a simple noise wasn't enough. He had to alert the people, the sleeping heart of this neighborhood. He darted from his hiding spot, a flash of white against the dark pavement, and raced toward the nearest house, the one belonging to the shopkeeper. He let out a series of loud, insistent meows, a desperate alarm call that pierced the night. A light flickered on inside, the door creaked open, and the shopkeeper appeared, a flashlight cutting a bright beam through the darkness. "What's going on out here?" he grumbled, shielding his eyes. The cat didn't hesitate. He turned and ran back toward the shop, then stopped, looking back at the man, his message clear: "Follow me. Something is wrong." The shopkeeper, understanding the urgency in the cat's strange behavior, took a cautious step forward. That was all it took. The sight of the approaching figure sent the would-be robbers into a panic. They abandoned their task and fled, swallowed by the darkness from which they came. That night, no one was hurt, no property was stolen. All because someone small and seemingly insignificant chose to be brave. Days turned into weeks, and the white cat became a permanent fixture in the old city's landscape. A silent sentinel walking the same familiar streets. You'd see him sleeping in a sliver of sunlight near the old shops, or perched on a wall, watching the flow of people with a careful, steady gaze. He was always there, especially at night, his alert eyes scanning the darkness. The residents began to notice him. That white cat, an old man would say, "He's always here, like he's watching over us." They didn't know his story or the role he had played, but his constant presence became a quiet comfort. He wasn't just a stray anymore. He was a part of the neighborhood's soul, its silent, watchful protector. The city's shadows are not always empty. One late night, a young woman walked alone, the sound of her footsteps echoing on the cobblestones. She was unaware of the two figures following her, their steps muffled, their intentions sinister. They saw an easy target, a lonely traveler in the dark. But they weren't the only ones watching. From a rooftop high above, the white cat saw it all. He saw the danger she was in, the predators closing in. He had to act, and he had to be loud. He leaped from the rooftop onto the hood of a parked car below. The landing was hard, but his purpose was firm. He began to scratch furiously at the car's surface, his claws digging into the paint. A second later, the car alarm shrieked to life, a deafening wail that tore through the night. Lights blinked on in windows up and down the street as people were jolted from their sleep. The sudden chaos shattered the robber's confidence. The woman whipped around, her eyes wide with fear as she finally saw the men who had been stalking her. With the alarm still blaring, she didn't hesitate. She turned and ran, her feet pounding the pavement as she headed for the safety of a busier, well-lit road. The robbers, exposed and startled, vanished back into the alleyways, their plan ruined. The woman, catching her breath under a bright streetlight, looked back. "Thank you," she whispered, though she wasn't sure who she was thanking. Her eyes then fell upon the car, and there, sitting calmly on its roof as if nothing had happened, was the small white cat, the unlikely source of her salvation. The night was soon filled with the approaching wail of police sirens, a response to the multiple calls about the car alarm. An officer stepped out, his radio crackling. "We've been getting a lot of reports from this area lately," he said to his partner. From a safe distance, the white cat watched them, his job done for the night. The robbers, however, were persistent. Another night, they returned to the same old streets, looking for another opportunity. But this time, they had an unwanted shadow. The white cat followed them, not hiding, but staying just visible enough to be noticed. He moved from shadow to shadow, a flicker of white that kept drawing the eye. As a police patrol car cruised slowly down the street, one of the officers noticed the strange movement. "What's that over there?" he asked, pointing. They saw the cat, and then they saw the two men it seemed to be tracking. Their suspicions raised. The officers got out to investigate and quickly recognized the men from previous reports. "You're under arrest," the officer declared, the click of handcuffs sealing their fate. The streets were finally a little safer. The next morning, as the sun cast a warm glow over the old neighborhood, the shopkeeper whose store had been saved stepped out with two small bowls. He walked to the alley and placed them down, one filled with food, the other with fresh water. "You earned this, little hero," he said softly. The white cat emerged from the shadows and began to eat his first real meal in a long time. He never wore a uniform. He never asked for praise or a medal. He was just a stray cat in a forgotten part of the city. But because of him, because one small creature chose to act, the people of the old streets could walk with a little less fear and sleep a little more soundly. He remained their silent guardian, a symbol of how even the smallest among us can make the biggest difference. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more.